Ever since the first video game Easter egg in the Atari 2600 classic Adventure, reward systems and video games have been intertwined. We all love that dopamine hit when we accomplish something in a game and are rewarded with a secret character or special weapon. Even the increasingly tired likes of character or weapon skins can be worth it if done well. The flip side though is all that time investment and zero payoff, a weird afterthought of what is often a tumultuous development cycle, where the level team sketched out a challenge, but the reward couldn't be implemented properly, or it was just left until the dying days of the project. I'm Scott from WhatCulture.com, and these are 9 video game rewards that were profoundly insulting. Number 9. Prowler's Prophet. The Elder Scrolls V Skyrim. Whether The Elder Scrolls or Fallout, Bethesda's massive open-world RPGs are loaded with secrets, references, and Easter eggs. However, few of these breadcrumbs are as tantalizing as Skyrim's Stones of Barenziah. You'll most likely start this quest by happening upon one of the unusual stones during your questing and exploration. After getting them appraised, they'll be revealed as the Stones of Barenziah, gems which once adorned the crown of Queen Barenziah, and there are 24 of them in the world. Where exactly? Nobody knows. Yep, it's one of those quests. You might be tempted to comb the map for these stones. I mean, for such a long collection quest with 0 maps or hints, the reward must be something incredible. Instead, it's a spell called Prowler's Prophet that increases the likelihood of finding valuable gems in chests and other containers. As you might have guessed though, the effort of finding these things without a guide will have already made you richer than your wildest dreams. Maybe in Elder Scrolls 6 we can get access to this before the 100-hour mark. Number 8. The Philmobile 2000. Ni no Kuni. Ni no Kuni is developer Level 5's gorgeous collaboration with the beloved Studio Ghibli about a boy whisked into a magical parallel world. It's an old-school JRPG and one of the best in the genre. It's also expansive and extremely long, with loads of content to mop up after the main story. Unfortunately, the Philmobile 2000 makes those post-game challenges hardly seem worthwhile. You'll first need to find a secret area occupied by a character called the Conductor. He'll send you on a series of bounty hunts, superpowered versions of the game's various bosses. After completing 19 of these, you'll unlock the door to fight the game's secret boss, the Guardian of Worlds. As if beating this thing wasn't enough, you then need to chase the Conductor back down and pester him until he finally gives you your reward, a nifty little car, the Philmobile 2000. However, you've just done every last thing in this 50+ hour RPG. There's nowhere left to go. Maybe if the game had a new game plus that let you carry the vehicle over, it would be worth it, but it doesn't. Number 7. Yoshi isn't rideable. Super Mario 64. As the first 3D Super Mario game, Super Mario 64 laid the foundation used by every 3D Mario title since. Even for a game as relatively recent as Super Mario Odyssey, the core mechanics are still carried over more or less identically from Mario 64. Every 3D Mario since has also been based largely around collecting a finite number of items. Stars, shines, moons, etc., both necessary and secret. Sometimes punishingly secret. With each game, the number grows and they become harder to obtain, so you'd expect something pretty good for your efforts every time. For all that hard work in Mario 64, you get to unlock a cannon that shoots you to the roof of Princess Peach's castle, where you can finally meet Yoshi. Your beloved friend/steed from Super Mario World. We all remember Yoshi and his multicolored friends, giving us a huge power and exploration boost while riding them. So what do you get when you finally meet Yoshi in Mario 64? A mild conversation. You just kinda catch up, because you haven't seen each other in quite some time. The devs did include a message from the team thanking you for playing and say they have one last thing in store as a reward, only to give you 100 lives, as Yoshi stays standing on the roof instead. Awesome. Number 6, let's do the time warp again. No Man's Sky. Calling No Man's Sky's original release a disappointment would be one of gaming's biggest understatements. Compared to what developer Hello Games had shown prior to release, the game was threadbare, a whole universe with stationary NPCs, grind-heavy progression, and barely any variety. But nothing stung more than if you actually bothered to make it to the center of the known universe, the game's ultimate main objective. After hours and hours of exploration, harvesting, and crafting just to move from star to star, inching your way forward, you found nothing. Not nothing at all, but it may as well be. In the center of the universe, you find a portal that transports you to the edge of another new universe, which is basically the same as the one you just finished, and the same objective appears again to reach the center. Your reward is an infinitely looping game. Introduced in later updates, you could follow the Atlas path, an alternate route to an alternate ending, in which case your character then states via text that a great sense of fulfillment washes over me. I mean, personally, I adore No Man's Sky and always have, but it feels like the whole mystery at the center of the cosmos thing is the one part of the whole experience that still hasn't been done right. Number 5, a diploma. Pokemon. The whole driving mission behind all things Pokemon, gotta catch 'em all, admittedly puts it in a weird spot when it comes to rewards and unlockables. Catching 'em all includes getting the secret and legendary Pokemon, so the reward is the task itself, the journey, not the destination. However, you have to believe developer Game Freak can do better than just an in-game text-based diploma. Maybe back in the Stone Age when there were only 151 Pokemon and you could print this bad boy out on your Game Boy printer to show your friends, it was kinda neat. But as that number grew with every new entry, hitting 400 with the most recent releases Scarlet and Violet, a plain in-game certificate of completion feels less and less rewarding. The worst part about the diploma is the profound sense that you and your accomplishments aren't even special or unique in this world. As popular as Pokemon's key phrase is, and as ludicrous as it is that Scarlet and Violet's buggy AF performance still had millions of players, Game Freak have never meaningfully rewarded you for catching them all. Number 4, a postcard. Super Mario Sunshine. As the follow-up to Super Mario 64, it's only fitting that Super Mario Sunshine has an even worse reward for hitting 100% completion. Sunshine is a divisive game that often gets cited as the worst Mario of all time by certain fans. Its weird camera and sporadic physics was something many of us just went with when we were younger, creating a whole contingent of players who love the game now too. To me, there's a lot to enjoy about how many risks Nintendo took after 64 had redefined how an entire medium thought about 3D gaming, but that can't save certain mission goals you're tasked with to get 100%. To that end, even though there's the same number of shines to collect as there were stars in Mario 64, the effort it takes to claim them is considerably higher. Even the biggest fans of Sunshine's level layouts and collectible placement will admit to just how much trial and error is baked in, leaving you to replay and fail specifically awkward segments over and over and over. The Sandbird is born, I am looking directly at you. Anyway, after all this, nobody expected your reward to be a full-screen postcard wishing you a relaxing vacation, as you were either rage-quitting on this game forever, or your time was coming to a close regardless. Number 3, the world's most exhausting card game, Final Fantasy VIII. One of Final Fantasy VIII's many high points is Triple Triad, the game with the best music of all time. While entirely optional, playing Triple Triad is incredibly useful, unlocking rewards and even turning rare cards into useful items. Completing the card game side quest involves rising in the ranks, beating various Triple Triad masters until you reach the reigning champ, the Queen of Cards. Upon beating the Queen of Cards, you get more cards. To fight, well, she just starts appearing in different locations around the world map, but the rewards are always just more cards. In the end, there's nothing else, which means all that elevated one more match build-up doesn't actually go anywhere. Number 2, I guess that's okay? The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Nintendo's 2019 remaster of the original Game Boy classic, The Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, was widely well received by critics and fans alike. It added vibrant new graphics, a welcome addition considering the best it had before with a severely limited palette of the Game Boy Color, but it mostly stayed true to the original. A great but lesser known title, especially amongst the younger Zelda fans of today. This nearly one-to-one fidelity even included a new version of the original secret ending. There's completing the game normally, which results with Link waking up and wondering if it was all just a dream, but if you complete Awakening without dying once, you unlock a secret ending where Zelda stand-in Marin smiles politely in the sky. It's heavily implied that the whole thing wasn't a dream, and Marin, whose only desire was to leave the game's island anyway, did get her wish. That's a nice enough interpretation, but the ask here is sky high for a reward that's worth far more to a side character than the player. And number 1, being insulted. Gex. Besides being Josh Brown's spirit animal, Gex is mostly a forgotten set of platformers from the PlayStation's early years. It spawned a few sequels and helped put Crystal Dynamics on the map, but these days it's only brought up in videos like this. One of the most random things in the franchise though is Gex's secret ending. Getting 100% completion in the original title, which includes finishing the game twice, earns you the reward of being relentlessly insulted. For about 20 minutes you just watch text pop-ups list numerous examples of why you're a loser with no life. While that kind of wry self-loathing humor mostly worked in the 90s, Crystal Dynamics all out verbally assaulting you for having the nerve to just enjoy their game to its fullest kinda wasn't it. And those are our picks for various video game rewards that felt profoundly insulting. Let me know your favorites down in the comments below, and please subscribe to the WhatCulture Gaming Podcast. For now, I've been Scott from WhatCulture.com, and I'll catch you soon.